Hello! It's been a long while since I've shown my face on these parts, but as you can see by my two-colored roof, I am in the middle of repairs, still in the middle of moving, but I am back in the Gulf and hopefully we'll be back to more of our routine soon. I hadn't really expected for my summer to go the way that it has, but here we are. I'm finally in our new house and, slowly getting set up. Yes, there are some minor repairs there to be made, and we are still in the middle of buying furniture and putting furniture together and all of the things. I haven't started work yet, but I hope to start work soon, which means that I will wear more makeup soon. But in today's video, I am going to introduce my project pan. So instead of just kind of going about willy-nilly and using my products as they go, I do want to put together an official roster of products that I will be focusing on and then rolling things in and out of my project pan as we move along. I have to give credit to Vivian Gwen Beauty for her inspiration. The way that she structures her project pan is really organized, really exciting to follow, and so I'm gonna follow in her footsteps and I'm gonna put together a project pan. And so I'm gonna do the same thing with monthly updates and usage reports, and hopefully that will allow me to continue making sure that I am spreading the love through my makeup collection and using everything that I have as much as I can. So as far as eyeshadow palettes go, and eyeshadows in general, I won't be including eyeshadows in project pans specifically, but instead I will be doing a monthly palette roundup like usual. I'm just gonna give myself my entire collection to use and just pick what I wanna use at any given time. At the end of the month, then I will give you a usage report for the eyeshadow palettes and single shadows that I've been using at that time. Same thing, you will get a monthly update with project pans. So I am starting my project pan in September. I'm gonna aim to have between 10 and 12 products in my project pan at any given time, and I will be rolling things in and out as we go. So if you want to see what I'm going to be putting a little bit of extra special focus on in terms of using my makeup products, let's get going. All right, so for this first stage of my project pan, I've given myself a universal goalpost or milestone of end of December 2025, so the end of this calendar year. So even though each product may have a different goal, it's going to be up until December, at which point I will make decisions on whether I will roll them in or out of the project pan if they are still there. I made an effort to choose a product from basically every category in makeup, or almost every category in makeup. I did go a little bit heavier in a few specific ones, you'll notice as we go along, but I wanted to make sure that I had something in every makeup category that I use with some regularity. So starting with primer, with a goal of using it 25 times by December of 2025, I'm gonna put in my Marc Jacobs Blurfection Undercover Blurring Coconut Face Primer. Really, the issue with me putting this on my project pan is that this is the oldest primer in my collection, and depending on the weather, I may or may not use it because it can be rather emollient. So I gave myself a number of usages as opposed to finishing it, also because in this kind of component, it's really hard to tell whether you are close to emptying a product or not. So the goal for this is 25 uses by the end of the calendar year. Now for foundation, I decided to include a tinted moisturizer instead, and it's gonna be my Sephora Matte Perfection Tinted Moisturizer. So my goal for this one is to finish it by the end of December. I think that living in a more humid area here in the Gulf, having a matte product is gonna be kind of helpful. And right now I am veering more towards lighter coverage complexion products, at least for foundation and tinted moisturizer. So I can definitely see myself using this substantially. Excited about it. This is probably my third bottle of this historically, and I really like it as a product. I'm just not sure that a matte tinted moisturizer is necessarily my favorite, but I'm excited to try others and finish this one up. For concealer, we're gonna be rolling in my Hourglass Vanish Concealer. I have this in the shade Dune. Again, I've had this open for a while. I would like to finish it by December. I'm gonna keep track of how many uses I have. This is, again, one of those packagings where it's hard to tell how much or how little you have used, but we'll see whether I get windows on it that allow me to see a little bit more. I'm not sure about tracking way because, again, I use so little concealer at a time that might be difficult to track. So for now, the goal is to finish it by December, but maybe at the halfway point, if I'm not sure that that's gonna happen, then I will maybe give myself a number of uses goal instead. For powder, I'm gonna put in my Givenchy Prisme Libre loose powder. I have the shade 5 Popeline Mimosa. This is the mini size. Just so you know, this is not the big one. I would like to finish it by the end of the calendar year. It is a great finishing powder and it's a great setting powder. Like, it actually does both. It gives you a really nice blurred soft focus effect on your whole face, but it will also mattify your shinier areas. So I appreciate it for that reason. I actually really like it, and I have purchased replacements that I'll pick up next year when I return to the US. But right now, it is one of the powders that I use more when the weather is warmer, and we still have probably a good 2 months of warm weather here in the Gulf, so I expect to be pulling this quite frequently, and I'm hoping that I can finish it up. I do think that as a mini, this is a very generous size. I don't know that anybody needs the full size, really, unless you're like a makeup artist or something. Next, let's talk about bronzer. Turns out that this is like the only powder bronzer in my collection, and I am kind of noticing that it's kind of losing pigmentation. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's that I'm getting tanner and it's not as deep on me, or if it's losing pigmentation because I have had it for a while. It's gonna be my Makeup by Mario Soft Sculpt Bronzer in the shade Medium Dark. I've had it for a while and I've used it quite a bit. I don't know if you can tell that there's a bit of a dip there, but my goal is to hit pan by the end of December. Blush is the category where I have the most types of items, and I decided to include 2 creams and 1 powder. Let's go with the creams. First off, I have my Melt Cosmetics Blush Light in the shade Sandy Cheeks. If I can open it. And why am I including this in a project pan if I've already hit pan? Because I want to finish it. I want to finish it by the end of the calendar year, simply because I've had it for a while and it's not necessarily my favorite formula, so I want to make sure that I use it up. I also had the shade Pink Sand, and if you remember, I finished it last academic year, so its little sister should move along. So yes, I have a substantial pan on this, but the goal is to finish it by the end of 2025. Next up, I have my Tower 28 Beach Please Cream Blush in the shade Happy Hour. Here it is. It's actually the blush that I'm wearing today. I've been wearing my makeup for about 6.5 hours at this point, and I haven't reapplied anything really. So, I mean, I think that for a cream blush that is not set, I think it still looks pretty good. My goal on this one is to hit pan by the end of December. It's a blush that kind of goes really far, but it is fairly forgiving and fairly buildable, especially with my current tan. So I'm hoping that that will help me hit pan by the time that I'm hoping to hit pan. And then for a powder blush, I decided to include the shade Curtain Call in my Zoeva Premier Cheek palette, which is this red one. And my goal is to hit pan by the end of December. I have another shade in this palette that I still use and I have hit pan on, which is this one over here. I would like to have pan on both of the shades in this palette that I do use. I don't use this gold because it is way too dark on me. I would like to replace it with other red powder blushes. I've had it for a while and it is a matte blush, which is not necessarily my favorite finish. So I think it's a good moment to hit pan on, or try to hit pan on it. Then for highlighters, I have my Becca Shimmering Skin Perfector in Champagne Pop. A classic if you ever saw one. This has been repressed a couple of times, but my goal is to hit pan by the end of December. Champagne Pop is, for the most part, a pretty universal shade. For me, it usually goes really well with most looks unless I'm wearing a very cool toned look. However, I don't necessarily wear highlighter all the time right now. Like right now, my go-to makeup has been tinted moisturizer, concealer, eyeshadow, blush, brows, mascara, lip oil. That's it. So right now, I'm not wearing a highlighter, and I haven't been wearing highlighter in my everyday makeup. So I actually think, and just because highlighter in general is difficult to use, I think that this is probably going to be my most ambitious pan to hit if I do hit it by the end of December. Wish me luck. Last but not least, I decided to include 2 lip oils, which I probably think are gonna be the low-hanging fruit in this project pan, or at least in this first stage of my project pan, because I think that these are probably the ones that I'm gonna move through the quickest. These are 2 of my e.l.f. Glow Reviver lip oils. I chose the shades Rose Envy and Honey Talks, partially because they are 2 very flexible shades that I can wear on the everyday. So basically, I wear the brown if I'm wearing a warm tone look, and I wear the pink if I'm wearing a cool tone look. So I figured that this would be hopefully an easy win. My goal is to finish them both by the end of December. We'll see. But these are lip oils that I usually keep on my bag and, reapply throughout the day. I want to try new shades, new formulas, because that's the fun of makeup. You get to try different things, find new formulas, find new finishes, and find something else that we like. I'm very grateful that I'm able to indulge in this as a hobby, but I want to make sure that I'm still keeping awareness of what's in my collection and using products that I have already tried and loved for a period of time to ensure that I'm using them while they're still good. Do you do a project pan? If you do, what are you trying to pan right now? What are your goals at the current moment? Let me know in the comments, and I hope that you will join me for my first update on this project pan at the end of September. Thank you for hanging out with me in my adventures with makeup and for watching until the end of this video. If you like it, and to make sure that you don't miss any of the updates on my project pan, please consider subscribing and like this video if you are part of the lovely community of conscious consumers of makeup here on YouTube, trying to keep up the fun and find joy in the products that we already have. I hope you have a wonderful day wherever you are, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye.